All right, welcome to another live stream for Four Collectors, Four Collectors. I am John, aka the 3D 80s Kid, and this week we've got a special show as we have a guest host. This is a guy who begged to be on my channel, and now he's begged to be a host on this channel. So, after enough groveling, we broke down and we let him go for it. Welcome, Chris from Missouri.
Well,
Hey,
thanks
Chris.
for having. Hey, thanks for having me on. But I guess there goes the neighborhood, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. So let's get this thing underway. I'll be in the background helping these guys out because old man in the chat it just blows right past them. So I might pop in for occasional comments, but I will mostly be in the background here. So let's kick off this.
Welcome to Four Collectors.
Well, guys, thanks for tuning in, and I'm pretty excited about being able to host this tonight. And I don't want this to be the grumpy old guys. It's really the seasoned guys. And so, the first guy I'd like to introduce that's going to be on this panel tonight is the seasoned wordsmith, and that's that '70s show, John Keating. Hey, John, how are you?
Hey, Chris, how are you, man? My condolences. I know it's a rough night for you, but thanks for having us along.
Oh gosh, it was a tough one, and I still got the shirt on, the Chiefs shirt on. But I appreciate you coming on here. You might be the class of this outfit because you're the only one that I haven't spent some time in a hotel with, so I know how these guys act like.
Fair enough.
So next, I want to introduce our favorite channel from the north. The Canadian Mike, Canadian.
Smoky in here, guys.
One more bong hit before you hit going on the air there. That's not bad, man.
What's going on, fellas?
Is Pepino Man in the closet?
He's right over here.
Okay.
He's right over here.
And last but not least, our friendly, grumpy old giant, our friend from Pittsburgh, Don and Don's Field of Dreams.
Oh, Chris, I'm glad you kept your shirt on.
Next time. So, listen, the reason they asked me who I wanted to try to get on here. And first of all, a couple of you guys, I know nobody else would want you on, but I lowered my standards. But you guys collect a lot like I do, I believe. Now, some of us don't. Some of us don't grade all of our cards. Some of us don't collect sets. Seem to be vintage card collectors. And I just wanted to get people on to talk about what's different in the hobby today than it was for us when we were growing up, and what we don't like, and maybe some things we do like about some of the changes, and just carry on a conversation and let people see into our older collecting souls. How about that?
Yeah,
I'm in, man.
Good.
Okay, so everybody always asks, how'd you get started, all that kind of stuff. But just give us a Reader's Digest version of when you got started and why you're heading in the direction you're heading as far as collection goes. And let's start from the bottom. Don, why don't you go first?
The bottom, but Don's a bottom. Okay, I thought he was
the
top.
First time. So I started in 1976. Wiped out on my Huffy bike in my neighbor's yard, tore up my knee, and got a bunch of stitches. And the woman who owned the house brought me over a cello pack, not CeeLo. And it started from there, and I haven't stopped since.
Okay. Mike, give us a little rundown of you.
1970, my dad came home from work and threw some packs of hockey cards on the table, and that was it. I caught the bug. I was gonna that's the fake story. The real story is I got on here 4 years ago and started collecting because I wanted to be YouTube famous. But
Nice.
I will go with the first one.
You are on the way, buddy.
Infamous.
So, Mr. Keating, tell us about you real quick.
I have older brothers, but they didn't hand me down anything. I think they were the victims of my mom throwing away the cards. I remember the box they threw away, that my mom threw away, all that fun stuff. But mostly Little League, we had a snack bar, I got cards. The infamous Wawa, if you know, you know, had cards. Everywhere you went, you had cards. I would get rewarded for not biting my nails or not acting up in class, stuff like that. Basically, bribed by my mom to not do bad stuff with baseball cards. Didn't work out. She's gone, and I'm still doing bad stuff. So,
Okay. Well, I believe all of us go to card shows, right? On occasion. And I set up at a card show, and I'm going to tell you a little experience that I had on Saturday. And then if you you guys can talk about it or run with something you saw. But the card show was really busy, and there was not a lot of vintage there. I was maybe one of 10 tables of vintage, and I witnessed somebody opening up a box, a $300 box, and literally just went through. And when I say somebody, that somebody was probably not old enough to drive, and he spent $300 on a box, and he tossed two of the cards away. And and seriously, I mean, and so I was sitting at the table when a young kid came by with their parents, and I'm talking 7 years old, 6, 7, 8 years old. I would give them a rack pack of of cards to open up, and my cards weren't near as valuable as that card, but they just threw them away. Have you guys ever thrown cards away after you open them up just to be doing it?
that's a no. I've referred to them recently as bubble wrap or packing peanuts. For some reason, that's what base cards are now for most people, which I think is the wrong way to go about things. But we can get further in depth about what the hobby is these days. But I don't throw cards away.
Before we go too far, I'm a little confused, Chris. Your background is not backwards, so I feel out of place.
Well, I'll tell you what, I actually copied and pasted something on the phone today and sent it to John 3D's 80s kids. Honest. And,
I was today years old when I realized Pat Mahomes didn't wear number 51.
And by copy and pasted, he got glue everywhere.
That's what he had for dinner is paste.
Oh, yeah.
I also wanted to respond on here. Dan said Don really needs to grow a beard for the show. And the reason I don't feel like I need a beard is because I win in the hair department next to you three.
Yeah.
So
You call that winning, huh?
I do. I definitely call that winning.
You do.
You're like, I think you work for Marge Schott. You have to have short hair at work.
Right.
We get to do whatever we want.
That's true.
We're the Oakland A's.
I have to pay for haircuts. You guys don't.
Yeah.
If you guys bring up that Chiefs game again, I'm going to have to go to therapy next week, man.
Hey, so we're talking about base cards or whatever, throwing away cards.
Yeah, throwing away cards.
I don't think that Mike or Don would do that. I don't mean to speak for them. I didn't know whether Don heard the question.
No, I was too busy ripping on you guys.
No, I definitely, I would never do that. I just, you know what? Store them in a box. Just put them away.
Yeah, same here, Mike. I don't throw anything away. I may not look at them for years, but they're in a box somewhere.
I'll show you where the cards are right now. The three, there's where the cards that are supposed to be thrown away are.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're in those boxes. So yeah, I should throw them away, but I don't.
No, that'll be somebody's gift sometime soon.
So a card show from your perspective has to be absolutely crazy because how many stress balls did you go through throughout this thing? I'm sure you wanted to. You're probably not a violent man, but you probably wanted to punch 8 out of 10 people that came up to your table, I imagine.
Well, no, I want the hobby. Excuse me, I need to take another drink. I want young kids involved in the hobby. I mean, I love seeing it, and I think we owe it. I think we as collectors owe it to something that we love to keep it growing and strong. It's just I believe we got a lot of guys, influencing people to mine for something, to gamble for something, and and they get it from their friends, but they also get it from YouTube, they get it from other social media services, and I don't think it's going to be tough for us to break through, and I always say collect what you like. I don't mind what you're collecting, but to me, that's mining for gold. That's giving a kid $1 at Christmas and them whining about it and saying, "Hey, how come you didn't give me 2?"
It's been around for a while, though, right? We like to think of it as a pandemic type thing, but I mean, this is what the junk wax era brought us, was with the inserts and the chases and all that stuff. It's just on a higher level now. It's 5-figure cards instead of 2-figure cards that people are chasing and stuff like that. So I don't think it's, I admire what you're saying, Chris, but I don't think that I don't necessarily think that collecting cards is a hobby. I think it's building a portfolio. And that's not the same hobby that I'm involved in. And I would not like to see an increase of that. And some people have advocated for a step back, a shrinkage or reduction. And I'm not opposed to that. I don't want, the term 10X bothers the crap out of me, because it's just going to 10X the aggravation in the hobby. So.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I mean, you want today's, what we would like to see is someone like Junior Baseball Fanatic. He collects the vintage stuff. Now, for most kids, they're going to collect what they see on television too. They're going to follow today's stars, and they're going to collect that. Now, whether they're flipping it or collecting it, that's what we did. When we were younger, we collected what we saw on TV. It just happened to be that era. So now, guys are collecting Brock Purdy and all these guys that who knows what's going to happen with them. But for now, that's what they're into. So I don't disparage the kids for collecting that. I just wish they'd sit back and go, where's this gonna, if you're gonna mine for something, get some vintage behind you.
Well, we were talking about this earlier, just off Mike and I off this chat, and some of the cards, modern cards today, they go up and down depending on their performance. I wouldn't be surprised if Patrick Mahomes' card. I brought it up. Now I got to go to freaking therapy on this. But I would, it's the way he played today. It wouldn't surprise me if that card went down in value, and it's not. And that's why Mickey Mantle didn't do anything today for his card to go up or down in value. It's just whether somebody wants it or not. And I don't know. When do you start becoming a vintage collector? Now, the reason I say that, we got friends that are doing this, that are a generation younger than us, and guys like Theo and that kind of that age group. But there's a lot of people that are Theo's age still collect a lot of modern stuff, and maybe do they have a best player they like best, and when that guy retires, do they still try to pick up their stuff, or do they go on to the next guy or the next guy? And I don't know the answer to that.
Well, I think we know who Theo wants to collect, but I also think it's different for us because the cards that we collected as kids are vintage, like now, and that's just not going to happen again. And it wasn't planned that way. We just held on to the cards we got. We were modern collectors back in the day.
Yeah.
When the cards were new, they were modern.
But when did you stop being a modern collector?
Early 80s.
Yeah. So, I mean, we stopped somewhere, and we went, we just stopped, and we kept collecting the cards that we liked.
Right.
Well, I think when it, you've got more of a disposable income to go back and collect some of the stuff that maybe you couldn't get as a kid because it was out of your price range. And now, well, now you go to the National and you see 14 and 15-year-old kids walking around with thousands of dollars worth of cards in their Zion cases, and it blows me away. Absolutely blows me away.
I'm a bit of a fraud because I have a couple 100,000 modern cards. So if you want me to leave now, I will. But I don't. I haven't stopped collecting cards, but I don't have the affinity for the modern players that I do for the old players. And they were players that preceded my interest in my lifetime, right? So we learned the history. Now, one of the problems with the kids today, here's the first old man on the porch rant, is baseball history begins with Mike Trout for a good portion of the modern hobby, and I might be doing this a lot, but the modern hobby believes that that baseball history began with Mike Trout. Mike Trout had a great 10 years, so did Pujols, so did Griffey Jr., and so on. But it's there is a small percentage of people that are going to go back. I fear that are going to go back in time just because of the way they were raised on ESPN and stuff like that. We had to do some hard work to learn about the players, whether that's tuning in on Saturday to This Week in Baseball or Sporting News or the Baseball Digest or
the cards themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So we had to do some work. Well, it wasn't work. It was work finding, but we wanted to, right? It was, which is one of the interesting things is Jackie Robinson, this icon of baseball, and his cards were relatively cheap within the last 30 years, which is crazy to think that, because maybe there wasn't a lot written about him for obvious reasons, but it's good to see that guy, his prominence in the hobby skyrocket to near the top, I guess.
John, I collect modern cards too, but I collect what I see. Like I collect if I think they're going to be good, but I watch them play, right. and I see that they might, make this career in baseball their living. We're opening up packs now. There's packs to be opened up now that a guy's 18 years old and signed somewhere, and somebody can just say this is the next best thing, and right. People will go after that card like it's, like they're starving and need the biscuits, and then that card a year later or 2 years later, it won't be anything. And they I picked up plenty of Trouts and plenty of Tatis and
why is Miguel Cabrera not as people don't have the infatuation with a guy that is going to be in the Hall of Fame or that did do incredible things and is leaving the game, and we don't care. We just care about Mike Trout's hamate bone on his wrist or whatever, because he broke it swinging.
Right.
It's.
I think those guys exist. I mean, JT Triple Crown 24 was a big Miggy collector. Yeah. For years, that's all he collected. That was his personal collection. Just as one example, I think there's people out there that collect the likes of Miggy's and so on. It's just not. I think it's not sexy to collect those guys that you like. It's what's, like Chris said, who's the next star, who's who are you going to prospect after, and
body of work, right? I mean, that's the important part. Go for a player's body of work. Like you said, Chris, I was in a card store and a kid got a hit on an autograph on a player no one's ever heard of. Yet that kid was happy because there's some perceived value in that card when we know it's going to be worth nothing. 5 years, 10 years from now, right?
Well, look at Wander Franco. Wander Franco. I'm glad I'm not the last person holding that $2,000 card that's sold, or $5,000 card that's sold, and now you're the last one holding that card. I mean, everybody was searching for that, and
somebody's got to be left holding the bag, man. This is it's a Ponzi scheme, dude. Somebody's left holding the bag in this hobby, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would love to still be holding, 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle, what we could have bought it for back when we were younger, and I wish my mom would have loved me enough to sell my sister and my brother to buy me a couple Mickey Mantle cards. We'd both be happier right now.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt.
But I just always wondered, if you're collecting the new stuff, though, if you had a favorite player, will you just keep collecting that favorite player? Or the Miguel Cabrera, since he's retiring, I got his rookie card, I'm good. I don't need any. He was my favorite player, but I got his rookie card, I'm good.
The problem collecting that favorite player, you can't do a run anymore. They come out with so many cards every year. Every year there could be 30 cards of that one player. So if he has a 20-year career, you can't possibly do a run in all the one-on-ones and the parallels, and the blues and the greens and reds and
what is that person's rookie card?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Rookie cards, right?
Well, I'm going to show the first cards tonight. But just like you're saying, this is the same picture, the same card. I buy this card. Hey, a kid says, "Hey, do you have a Bobby Witt Jr. in a 10?" And I say, "Yeah, I have it right here." "Oh, not that one. Not that one. I want this. I want the chrome. I don't want that paper prospect. I want this chrome." "Oh, nope. I tell you what, I want this one." And it's, there's, and then I want the rainbow. Like there's 10 different rainbows of the chrome and the prospect. And I have a friend that's a Mahomes. Well, I got a guy that comes over every once in a while, and he's the number one collector on PSA Set Registry for Mahomes rookie patch autos. He's the number one on there. And
Dude just jumped off a bridge about an hour ago.
Yeah, I better go check it. Oh no! Oh, that hurts.
I hope he left a note.
He's dumping it all for Russell Wilson.
Yeah, but he only has 13% of the cards, yet he's the number one collector.
Yeah,
and golly, I need to pull that knife out. But yeah, you cannot collect their whole run anymore. No. There's just no way.
My favorite player is Carl Michael Yastrzemski, right? I completed his playing days run in real time, and everything else is, just a cherry on the top. Even though they put out hundreds of his cards a year, don't care. If I get them, I get them.
Okay, let's switch streams just a little bit. I don't know if John's ever going to pipe in here and give his 2 cents. Not John 3D's 80s kid, but.
You need me for something, Chris?
No, is there anybody watching this thing at all? Or can we
there's a few. Theo threw out what seems like an obvious answer from you guys as far as do you ever foresee the hobby being digital only cards? So
this is probably a guy that spends $79.99 a month on OnlyFans if he's worried about digital anything, Go find a girl, Theo, kiss a girl, hold her hand. Don't worry about a digital anything, man. That's the problem with this hobby is everybody's dating and nobody's, everybody's afraid to commit.
They tried that with NFTs and
yeah, come on. Yeah.
Wasn't that already a COVID boom that already died? So
yeah, it was.
Theo missed COVID and now he's predicting all this great stuff, man. He's going to dream up the NBA bubble next. That'll be his next question.
I just want to see Theo do a Clemente run.
Yeah.
Theo needs to learn how to coach his fantasy team. He's getting his butt kicked. No guy that doesn't know anything about digital stuff right now.
Digital. Sorry, Theo. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with everybody else at you. Just no digital, please. No digital. Just
no.
Pick the. Yeah. What would a card show be like it'd be like a silent disco. Everybody's dancing wearing headphones, right? How much fun would a digital card show be? You know,
Yeah,
everybody
really.
just sorry, I'm really busting on Theo's chops.
He
I
deserves it
apologize.
though,
He
Yeah.
does for that question.
and he won't get half the stuff. He's too young to understand. So,
What is disco?
What is disco?
yeah.
Yeah.
And can I get the run of the disco?
Yeah.
So who's been on YouTube the longest? John, how long have you been on?
I started podcasting before I started YouTubing, so I'm over 2 years on YouTube, but I started probably in May of 2021, I guess.
Mike, how about you?
May of 2019.
Don?
December of 20.
Okay, so what is there any changes on YouTube and YouTubers that you would like to not don't mention any names or anything like that, but is there anything that is going downhill or anything getting better? I keep getting on every time keep getting on, and every time I see a thumbnail, is the hobby tanking? Is this the end of card shows? Is this the end of vintage as we know it? What do you think? Anything different?
No, I just think that's all for clicks, right? That's all that is. It's the thumbnail with the like what's going on, and I think people do videos just because for some of those influencer types, they have to put something out. It's expected. Their audience expects them to put something out. So let's just pick random things, or it could be, some farces in the hobby. This guy, we found out this was, fake, or this card was actually trimmed and resubmitted. And, it's like Carlos on Friday night, the content gods, right? They sit back and they wait for shit to happen, and then it becomes, and it's nothing to do with Carlos, but he's a fellow Canadian. I get along with Carlos, but he'll put something out, and then Neo puts out something, and the sports card dad puts out the same thing, and it's
TMZ, man. It's all
It is.
TMZ, and that's what the hobby is.
And I just kind of look at it more in the sense that just show me some cards.
Yeah.
Like I just want to, because I get influenced by what other people are picking up. And when in the vintage world, like I started my 49 Bowman set because I watched a very great video of Dave Blue Jacket 66 showing off his set, and he had the variations of the 49 Bowman, and a guy in one of my Facebook group, he was selling off a lot of, it was around 52, I believe, my number may be off, 52 49 Bowmans, and they were relatively cheap, I thought. And so I scooped them up, and I thought, okay, here we go. There were no duplicates. I'm like, there's 240 cards in the set, and I'm better than 20% right there. So let's give it a shot. But that's influenced by Dave, and I just thought that's very cool, that set. And is it attainable? And let's find out. And I've been at it for better part of 13 months. And that's been the majority of the purchases that I've made. Now, I've done some submitting to PSA, but when those cards came back, a lot of modern, like hockey young guns, which is huge up here, I moved it all to fund my purchases for the 49 Bowman set.
And I know for me, getting on YouTube, I've met quite a few of you guys, including Chris and Mike on here. Haven't had the pleasure of meeting John yet, but I kind of get a feel from their channel if I would get along with these guys. And to be honest, I've been 100% right on the channels that I like and have met in person. because I just like watching guys that care about their cards and their collection. They're not on here to make money. They're not trying to get famous. It's just not what I'm into.
Yeah.
And, I just want to see guys that, I don't care if your production's good. Mine sucks. I have an error on every single video I make. I say something wrong, but I can get a good feel just watching guys. This is someone I want to go to the bar with and have a beer with. And I haven't been let down yet by someone I met. But I can just tell on other channels, I'm like, I don't want to meet those guys. Because I just can tell. I'm like, we have nothing in common.
Yeah.
For me, this is just fun. I got my misfits groups and they get on it. And some of the guys bitch about some of these guys. I'm like, why do you watch them? Just don't watch it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Stress, man. I'm on here to chill out and have a good time and bust some balls and have fun.
Yeah.
We're trying to see, I don't care if Tops screws up. I don't care if so-and-so loses a license. I just don't care because it doesn't affect me. It won't affect me. I always have said that every card I want has already been made. If they didn't make any more, oh well. But we're all the hobby as a whole is waiting for somebody to screw up so they can get on YouTube and bitch about it and stuff like that. I just don't care. And I've talked about it before. We demand perfection somehow out of a hobby that grew out of cards being in hot dog wrappers or in hot dogs, inserted in the hot dogs, right? Cereal boxes, put in your back pocket, taken to school, checklists that were checked off. And now we want everything to be perfect. And there's nothing in society that's perfect. And there certainly shouldn't be anything, when's the last time there was a perfect football team? Supposedly that was the Dolphins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Never been a perfect basketball team. Never been a perfect baseball team.
UCLA might argue with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm pro basketball. Absolutely.
I know.
Yeah. But it's just there's no, we seek perfection in a leisure activity, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's a dichotomy.
It's tempting, though. I mean, with the YouTube thing, it's tempting. When I first started on YouTube, oh gosh, there's only 200 people or 100 people that even know it. And I do a video, and the title of the video was, "I blame it on baseball collector." And that was by far. I got more views, more subscribers because they wanted. I know they wanted to see if how he screwed me over somehow. And I got a bunch of views on it. So, I'm sitting here thinking, well, shoot, my next video is Don Field of Dreams is a big ass. But and maybe I could keep on growing.
Has or is?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, it's tempting. And, I made fun of Mike on Chasing Cardboard on the little thumbnail they put down on him. They got an old man pointing a finger at him and saying, "I'm not selling." Well, that wasn't even part of that, but
Clickbait.
And I understand. I mean, I get it. They wanted many people to watch their stuff, and I do too. And Don, you and I've talked. Don does the Negro League stuff about guys like major leagues that just played a little bit, and he'll work hours on it, and a couple hundred people will watch it, and he'll do another video, and a ton of people.
Example of that, I made a video that was about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Literally held up my puppy and said, "I need a name for this dog." And I don't pick my thumbnails most of the time. I just let YouTube pick it. And I have so many views on that freaking video because the golden retriever's in it. But you're right. I spent a whole 1 minute and 30 seconds on that damn thing. I've got 800 views, and I'll spend a week doing the Negro League research, and I'll get 80 views.
Yeah.
But you know what? You learned something, though, man. I've advocated.
It ultimately is for me.
I'm not here to teach anybody anything, even though I put out a video every time Haley's Comet comes around. I put out a video, but if I learn, that's all that matters.
Right.
There's too many people that have evolved from collectors to financial experts. I can't tell you how many people suddenly have MBAs and JDs, like when these lawsuits come around and all that stuff. And that's just as don't if you're cutting grass during the day, or if you're digging ditches during the day, don't get on the TV and tell people that you know the ins and outs of Panini's lawsuit with Topps and stuff like that. You know, opinions are great, but there's too many people that just the same thing as like where they think the National should be. It should be at my the mall down the street from me. We can have it there. Like people just so many uneducated opinions can be dangerous too. It's okay to it's okay to talk about stuff, but don't, people that do have a big audience tend to talk out the sides of their mouth sometimes, and they don't quite know what they're talking about. So there's a lot of people around that have MBAs in our hobby and JDs and all that stuff, and that's great. And they're not spouting off the way some of these other folks are. And then the way society is, they jump right in. Yeah. You're right. We should have the National at Springfield Mall, and then 10 other people want to have that. It's just ridiculous. Just you wouldn't go out in the world and tell Best Buy how to run their business. Don't tell Topps or Fanatics how to run their business either.
Yeah, they've been around long enough. I think they've got a stranglehold on the market and know what they're doing.
And they don't care about you either. They just care about their bottom line.
Exactly. Don't forget they're a business.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
Not
There's nothing altruistic about any of these firms.
And getting back to what Don said about the puppy, I mean that's a classic example. If you've got and what Chris said about that video about I'm not selling, if there's something that could be interpreted as controversial, people are clicking on it. They're clicking on it. If I did a video saying I cut up my 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle card, just whether people stayed or not,
we should all put that title. It's the only views we get.
Yeah, you would definitely get the clicks. That's for sure.
You'd think a hobby would be something about a hobby would be a little bit different, but in society, and you guys all know this, we build somebody up, and people love, even though they won't say it, they love to roll down the window to watch them tumble and fall.
Right. For sure.
And
that's the players, and that's the content creators. It's whatever. Everybody when that dude skated out on everybody's submissions at PSA, it wasn't a hey, let's step back and pause here and take a look at how we got here. Instead, it was like everybody grabbed their pitchfork and their torches and they headed to YouTube or StreamYard and started wanting to burn the village down. Nobody wanted to say how did we get here, and that's why you need grumpy old men and women in this hobby. Is listen, man, you if you've heard me talk, I've said this. It sounds like I know I sound like I'm on repeat, but you can't buy wisdom. You can't go to school to get educated on wisdom. You have to live it to gain wisdom. And that's what I look to people, the generations before me that collected were, in the wild, wild west, like Dr. Jim and Rich Klein. And it's fun to get wisdom from them.
Right.
It's different than it is now, just as like it was different for us as for the folks now. But man, learn from the mistakes and all that stuff. It's crazy how these people want to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. We need to learn from their mistakes, though. We don't need to celebrate people's mistakes and hope people make mistakes. And to me, this group, I would like it to be more like a golf foursome. I want to beat you, but when you hit a good shot, I want to applaud you too. I want to celebrate your cards. And if Don picks up a really nice card, I'm not going to shut my door and just scream and say, I want to watch people's collections get better and celebrate that instead of wishing something bad happen to that person.
It's not a competition.
It is not. It is not. And that's, so.
And there's no way you're going to keep up with. There's always someone with a better collection out there. I remember. I don't quote me. I know Orlando's in the stream here. He hopped on to YouTube the first couple of videos, and I was like, "Holy shit! Look at the stuff he's showing off." And I was just like, "Oh, this guy just appears out of nowhere." And it's like, "Yeah, I got this, and I got this," and I'm like, "Where have you been?" It's awesome to see. But there's so many other people out there that have fantastic collections. They're just not on YouTube.
Well, think about going to a card show. How many people are there? The people that are on YouTube is a minute amount of the people that are in the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Incredibly small.
Yeah.
Incredibly small.
Yeah, it is. It is. You're absolutely right. Go ahead, Chris.
Did you guys watch? Mike Moynihan, baseball collector, had a video of the top 10 collections on YouTube that he watches, and
yeah, we know yours is one of them, Chris. We get it.
Well, he had to be. Hey, he mentioned your name. He mentioned your name, and he doesn't even like you.
I know.
But anyway, when he got done with that, I texted him, and I do not have the top. I do not.
Yeah.
But anyway, I said, you forgot Dr. Beckett.
Yeah.
I mean, Dr. Beckett's a YouTuber, and if you think my collection's better than his, you need to be taking a piss test tomorrow before you go to work.
That's the thing, right? Like, you don't know what I have in here. You don't know what I have behind me, right? Because you just don't know. And it's Dr. Jim. We see a background of what he has, a Zoom background, but it's and he's, again, like you said, there's such a small percentage of people that watch YouTube, just like it's smaller than the amount of people that are on Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. It's small. It's just, it's such a small, and I don't like the term influencer, because there really is no, we are influenced by, I get influenced by what I watch, but like, if you want to be influenced, go to a card show, right? Go to Strongsville or Philly or the National. There's no greater influencer than that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Speaking of card show, somebody's coming in.
Oh, I just thought there was a good question in the stream here from Davio Card Farmer, asking if the younger generation will collect pre-war cards, because like myself, they used to show baseball documentaries all the time on ESPN. Now it feels like it's nothing but talk radio style arguing about Jordan versus LeBron. So
it's like MTV. They don't show music videos, right?
Yeah. So
I
what do you guys think about that?
Will, if you look at this community, you've got Cracker Jack, you've got Dom, you've got Jake, that are all younger. I know I'm leaving people out. There's a few off the top of my head that enjoy the history of the game, or maybe just enjoy history in general. And I think that's where you learn about that stuff. And it might not be on ESPN anymore, but you got YouTube, and you can find so much on there. I think there'll always be younger people who are into history and vintage. Will be the majority, maybe not, but there'll be some.
I just hope that really good cards don't just become investments and stashed away in vaults and all that stuff. That's the fear. Is there's the baby boomers are slowly exiting the stage, and they were the biggest collecting generation. You could, junk wax here, that's great and all, but our hobby was built by baby boomers collecting in the 50s and the 60s. And I hate for their cards to end up as part of a portfolio instead of in the hands of collectors. That's probably my biggest fear at this point. Not that I'm scared, but I just don't want that to happen.
I look at it like it's a piece of art. 30 years from now, the Mona Lisa will be celebrated. 50 years from now, the Mona Lisa will be celebrated. I believe T206 Honus Wagner is going to be celebrated. those cards are going to be passed down, and somebody's going to value those cards. And I agree. I hope they just don't end up in a desk or a vault and, hey, stay away from my cards. I don't want to share those. I think it's something that's going to hold value and not just monetary value, but value that people are going to want to see and touch.
Appreciated, yeah.
Yeah.
Problem is though, we're
I'll
dealing
be right back. I really got to take this call. I'm sorry.
We're dealing with that right now. Is that there's so much out there in the collecting world that we haven't seen. Because people don't show it off.
Yeah.
They do keep it away in a vault, and they do pass it down, and it never sees the light of day, which is a shame. But I mean, to each his own, I guess. If that's if someone's got a T206 Honus Wagner, they don't want to show it off, they're well within their right to do that.
Sorry, I'm looking at that comment. That's a great comment.
Don is literally
Don's ring camera just went off. Yeah.
Kicking someone off his lawn. That's great.
Mookie cracks me up, man.
Yeah. He must be a hoot on Halloween, Don, huh?
Oh yeah.
Giving out the mini sizes, one per.
Yeah.
I think he's at the stage in life he has to pee 4 times a night.
I was going to say he's got to drain his bag. He'll be back.
Oh,
jeez.
So yeah, I mean, it's okay to, the thing is, as long as the cards and the items are appreciated, right? I mean, who appreciates buying a Jackie Robinson jersey and then chopping up into little bits so that we can put it in cards? I mean, it's such a shame, some of the corporate decisions that have been made, stuff like that. And that's not based on sentimentality or appreciation. That's based purely on economic motives.
Can you imagine going to the redwood forest and cutting down a big old tree and chopping it up into little 2x4 so everybody could have one? I mean, that's, to me, I don't. I mean, I like relic cards. I like to look at them, and then I think, oh, dang, they just chopped up a Babe Ruth jersey.
Yeah. Here's another rant, is the whole photo match thing. Like, I think we just keep setting ourselves up for scam after scam. I don't, and this is going to be a completely unpopular take, but I don't believe in the grading of autographs. I think if someone signs an autograph and it's authentic, then to me, that's a 10. Okay. Whether it was with a ballpoint pen, there's a smudge, whatever. Like, I feel like we have to rate everything and grade everything. And it's just, let's enjoy. An autograph used to be a memory exchange between two people or two individuals or whatever. Now it's purely a commercial exchange, and the difference between a 10 and a 9 autograph. I've never signed my name the same way twice, right?
Right.
And I just don't. Again, we're looking for perfection, and it just some of those things are just unrealistic and going to set ourselves up for more issues. I don't know how you can photo match a jersey from a black and white picture to something, in this day and age. It's just silly to me.
Right. Yeah. And I that technology is great that they can make that part of the card and distribute that card. But that's one of the newer things in the hobby that I don't care for.
It kind of had its moment, right? Like that was a big thing. And now people hate, they hate relics, or at least, what do they call them? Hankies or whatever,
napkins.
Napkins. Yeah. They it's this thing that everybody loved. And now because they were event worn or whatever, it's just
event worn means the guy could have threw it on for a photo shoot and boom, that's it. Did you get them off? Did you get them off your lawn?
Don't have kids.
Yeah, thanks for muting, so we could hear your whole conversation as you stepped out of the room.
So
Collect cards, not kids.
Yeah, no kidding.
Cards won't let you down.
Oh, there's your tagline: collect cards, not kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good advice for Dom and
Yeah.
on here.
Mine are all out of the house now, so it's
Yeah, so are mine, but they're still calling.
They find their way back in somehow, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So
what I do is I change their room into something. You know, my wife took my son's room and turned it into her like yoga studio.
Perfect.
And it's kind of like he's after owning his own home for a little bit. He said my home's gone up for like $200,000. My real estate agent called me and asked me if I wanted to sell it. And I said, what are you going to do? You going to sell it and buy something bigger? He's like, I was thinking of selling it and just keeping the money and moving back home.
Yeah.
I said, not a chance, bucko.
Love
I
it,
said,
man.
your room's turned into a yoga studio.
Yeah.
It ain't happening.
Yeah, bring your Lululemons if you're coming, man.
Yeah, exactly. No
So
downward dogs.
So Rick Oddball Cards just said that he was taking his cards with him. Now I know he's in great health and shape, but if something happens to Rick, does anybody know a good excavating company?
Yeah, no doubt.
We'll find one.
Yeah. It'll be obvious where he is, man. It'll be a pretty big hole. It's not like
Hey, John, there's somebody that Joseph Gibbs got on here. Let's read that question out. Can you guys see that?
Because how much of collecting is based more on the cost than the story or the art? New one of one seems to kill vintage.
I don't know, man. Nothing's going to kill vintage.
Yeah, I don't agree
It's
with
there,
that.
man. Your one of ones are on Facebook Marketplace right now.
There'll be 30 of them again next year.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he means kill in terms of value, or the cost they're transacting at is
I think
my
it's
guess.
the same market, though. Do you think the crossover between people that go for that stuff versus vintage? I think it's different money, different buckets, I would think.
Oh yeah, it's the people that view cards as commodities purely is the ones moving that stuff.
Yeah,
unless you're a diehard like John,
day traders.
He tries to get as many Wade Boggs cards, and he doesn't try to get every one of one. That's the rare exception, I think. That's going into those cards.
I just don't like the idea that we are now creating rarity by just adding a number on a card. Here I'm gonna stamp a one of one on here. Doesn't change.
One. You have one of these with a D on the back. There's not another one out there. 101.
You better watch out. Somebody's gonna fake that card. It's gonna be
somebody to photo match that D, man.
That's right.
But that's listen, grumpy old man stuff. You know, a vintage card, a T206 card. If somebody, I'm going to pay $4,000 for a tie cob green, a green tie cob back, or $4,000 for, and I'm not going to a Joe Burrow 101. Those two are in the. I don't get that.
Wisdom, dude.
I don't get that. Yeah.
Well, I know a lot of those guys that buy that, they may have a collector that, hey, if you know, they're probably texting the guy at these big shows and saying, hey, there's a Joe Burrow 101. They want, 4,200. You want it? Yeah, I'll take it. And then that guy pockets 200 and sells for the $4,000. And he's up $2,000. They're like card brokers at shows.
So how many one of ones does Joe Burrow have?
3,000.
Right? Like, what is the one of one? If it's
doesn't exist,
it's in theory they all have the same. They all have the same percentage of rarity. If there's only one of them, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I doubt that Joe Burrow only has one of one. He's probably got hundreds, if not thousands, right?
Oh, sure. There's somebody out there that's the number one Joe Burrow 101 collector.
Right. Well, like Don was saying, John Wade Boggs would go for that, but John Wade Boggs would not cut off a finger for that or anything like that. It's just crazy.
Certain 101 like Topps, Flagship, Bowman Chrome, Heritage, some will always hold huge value.
I wish Bowman would go away. I don't like Bowman prospects. I don't like Bowman Chrome prospects. I don't like Bowman draft. I just think it just feeds into all this nonsense.
I don't know what any of that is.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
it's like an unstoppable rebel force. It just keeps coming with, and again, it goes back to which is their first card or rookie card or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I know how thrilled you are. You guys are with Theo, but he then asked, "What do you guys think about the high-end modern, like National Treasures? So, like this ultra high-end, super expensive product."
Isn't that the box you bought, Chris?
I bought an immaculate, but
Same thing. Like,
yeah.
You know, receipt.
I said, if you want to piss $300 away, send it my way.
Yeah.
You had a great point.
Yeah.
Dan is right. Bowman ended in 1955. That was playing in my head all weekend long when I was thinking about bringing up Bowman. Bowman ended in 1955. True story.
We got a card on here.
Hank at Shibe Park. Well, I guess that would have been Connie Mack Stadium at that point.
Yeah.
That's the best Bowman set, and you can at me all you want, but it's the best Bowman set because it's got every card was taken at every picture was taken at Connie Mack Stadium.
I got this card to show John because I know he's a Yaz fan, so and don't mind the grade, but there's a 67.
Oh, look at that, man!
World Series ticket.
Signed
Oh my gosh.
Signed by Yaz.
That's gorgeous.
So I mean, like I haven't seen one.
Yeah.
You know, so is it? Yeah, like
I mean, maybe not.
Maybe not.
I bet you Mark Hoyle has it. I've rarely stumped Mark Hoyle with stuff, but that's a great card, man. It's a great ticket.
Yeah. I mean, stuff like that is more meaningful to me.
Yeah, for sure.
As a Red Sox guy, that means huge than, you know, any modern one of one. I'll spend my money on that. Thank you very much.
Hey, Chris, you were talking about the card show way back when we started this show.
Yes.
One thing I can't get my head around, and I obviously graded cards help this, but trading, a lot more modern trading, it seems, than vintage trading. A lot of people are into trading. I know TCDB enables that, and people have a great time. But I can't trade cards with people because I can't help to think that my card, people are going to be too bent out of shape about the condition of cards, raw cards to trade. Did you find a lot of that at that show? Were you offered a lot of trades?
There's always a lot more kids than adults that came by with their cases and say, "Hey, do you buy and trade?" And what I always say at my booth is I do buy, but only vintage.
Right.
I set that parameter because, every kid that goes by knows what the top comp value is of their particular card that they have. And but I rarely see a kid at my table trying to trade new stuff for my vintage stuff. What I see them is trying to get rid of some new stuff that they don't like so they can go try to find some other stuff. But
those tables you come across, like it's all shiny, 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 and then there's like a 54 Jackie Robinson tops in the middle of it. I always want to know what that story is, and it might be good. It might be a good hunting there, right? Because
sure,
they're like, take the thing, take it for $200.
And you say that there was a guy at this show that had all kinds of new stuff, including Pokemon and stuff in his table. And he had a Hank Aaron rookie card in a 5. And I thought, okay, man, this guy having Pokemon, football, basketball, all these shiny stuff, maybe he's on something, so I can get that Hank Aaron in a 5 a little bit cheaper than no chance. No chance.
So what do you guys think about this Mookie Chilson question? I think the modern boom of pack-pulled autos influenced the recent boom in on-card vintage autos, which I think is a good thing. What do you all think?
Yeah, because there was a time back in the day where it was sacrilegious to sign a rookie, get a rookie card.
Oh
signed.
yeah, oh yeah. Don't
People
do that.
were like, "What? What are you doing?" Now it's coveted. So I don't know if pack pulled influenced it. I think some people kind of ran with the idea,
I'm
and
thinking
it caught
TTM
on.
might have had more influence on it than Pack Pulled.
What did?
The TTM through the mail, people sending the cards out.
Yeah,
I mean, I could be wrong, but
yeah.
Mookie lost me when he said modern and pack pulled.
Yeah.
Because pulling, opening up packs to me right now is somebody needs to. If I say, I'm going to go open up me a pack where I can get me an autographed vintage player, just kick me in my nutsack because that's just to me it's gambling.
Yeah, I don't.
I want to hit blackjack. So
Yeah. I don't like. Again, I just it's a commercial transaction, and I don't like the commercial transaction parts of autographs. I have one autograph that I got in person, I think, 40 years ago, Richie Ashburn, and that was enough for me on a card of 62 tops, and I'll never do it again because it just doesn't mean anything. It's just a scribble on a card,
I heard how you enjoyed getting that autograph for Mike.
Oh, dude, that was torture, man. Like I said, I'm getting interrogated by a guy older than us about copyright infringement. Like, this is a fake.
Who was it for?
Moynihan.
No, I mean, who was the player?
Whitey Herzog.
Okay.
Yeah, dude is like, yeah.
You had to wait in line for Whitey Herzog.
Well, no, I pulled a favor.
I know.
I got into the back room and he was doing his pre-signing stuff, and that's when he had time to interrogate me, I guess. So,
And what were you getting signed for him?
Probably.
Why did I agree to this? That's the one thing. Like, why did I agree to get this done? Mike lives like on the west coast of Dallas, and he wasn't coming back for day 2 of the show. So he's like, Whitey's signing. He has these fake Perez Steel things, right? So he gave me a couple of those, and he gave me the tickets and said, go there. And I'm like, I'm not waiting in line for this guy. So I talked to the promoter, and they got me in the room to sign him. So yeah.
And then Whitey Herzog went upside.
I've never seen this. He goes, I've never seen this picture. Where'd you get this picture? And of course I'm thinking, feds are coming in, right? I'm going to jail for fake card production and all this stuff. And he calls the assistant over. It was a whole deal, right?
Oh my God, really?
And I joked, I just talked to Mike. We're on his show about it. And then I don't do autographs. So the guy's got like every color in the rainbow, a pen in front of Sharpie. Yeah. And he's like, what color do you want it signed? And I'm like, I don't know. And I know it's a big deal for card people. So I'm like, I don't know. He goes, I'll do the blue. I said, okay.
Blue, you can't fail with blue.
Yeah. If I had done any other color, though, I would have been killed. Buried in a hole in West Texas.
You should have done it in purple just to piss Mike off.
Or have it, or to get Mike back, have it signed to somebody else, have it signed to Don.
And I'm walking out of the room like this because God forbid we go from a 10 to a 9.5 on the autograph because I brushed them up against each other. I look like a human laundry line. I'm just walking out of the room.
Don't touch
these
me.
illegal cards in my hand.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
Oh, wait a minute. Here's something in the spread for you, John. Put up Dan's about Pink Floyd here.
Ooh. Well, I would take a see.
There we go.
I saw Nick Mason and Dan might have been there. I saw Nick Mason with Saucer Full of Secrets play at the Beacon Theater a few years back, and Roger Waters came out. I care even less about band autographs than I do about.
No, I just had to pull it up.
I see what Dan's getting at, but I love Pink Floyd, and I think that'd be awesome to have, but it's not something I seek out because I did that stuff for 10 years, and I have all sorts of autographs back there that were given to me. But I'm intrigued, though, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was going to pull up. We had a couple instances of people buying the one vintage card at a table here with here Vintage Sports Card Finds bought the 59 Clemente at a
awesome
show.
hopefully he or she got a great deal. That's all that matters,
You guys
right?
ever hear the story of Picker Jim picking up the 54 Ted Williams at the National, one of those trade nights? The kid had
really?
no idea who it was. It was,
That's awesome, man.
it was the hotel lobby. I guess we were in Chicago 2 years ago.
At the Lowe's? Oh, you weren't there this year.
No. And it was, I don't remember what hotel it was. It might have been Lowe's, but this kid had no clue.
How did you get that card, man? You know?
I know.
It's like I like when I buy cards, I like to find out stories, right? Like if I get something off Facebook Marketplace or somebody approaches, I want to find out the story of the cards, right? I bought I said it actually on Dan's channel. I commented about how I got a 47 Tip Top Red Yogi Berra, right? Which I think it's his first year, 47, first year cards. Yeah. I wanted to know the story, and the guy's like, I just bought it with a bunch of other stuff. I don't want to. I collect modern stuff. I'm like, all right, whatever. Yeah, that's a great card right there. See, right. Not everybody has one of those.
No.
What is that? An 8, a 7?
I don't know.
12,
9.
See, look at that. Who's got a 9? PSA 9 Mario Mendoza from 1978.
The real question is, what idiot sent this in to get graded?
I don't know. I don't even know how I got it, man. I don't know how I got it. Oh, geez. I
was sending you this card. I was like,
that's a great card, man. Yeah, like you can watch hundreds of YouTube videos and nobody's going to whip one of those out. No. So that's a unique
story to this card. So that's what's cool about it.
Just like I've got the Herb Washington run, right? I've done the player run, all 3 cards. And,
I didn't even know he had that many. I thought he had one.
I didn't know either. Rich Klein told me he had the OPG. I know he had the regular and the mini, and then he goes, oh, there's an OPG. So I had to go get the OPG, and then I finished the run of 3.
What you really want to do is go after the Earl Campbell run.
I finished that too. I finished that a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
79 rookie. And then there's a league leaders card.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Why was that with him? Why do you only have those?
Don't know, man. He was kind of like a pioneer with that stuff or something.
Yeah, he wouldn't sign with Topps or something like that.
Yeah, it was weird.
They made 2 cards for him in 79 and not another card.
And it wasn't even his I mean, it was in theory, it was his rookie card, but it was his second year because that's what football cards were back then.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just finished that. That was the last card I needed for the 79 top set. I finished that at the.
I have a video way back that it's my Earl Campbell run, and I don't have the league leaders card.
You're at the league
but
leaders,
I just have the rookie, and I just show the card. It's a 5-second video.
That's funny.
I show it, and then I just say, thanks for watching. It's like 5 seconds long.
So you can do the master set, which includes the checklist, I guess. Right? Names on the checklist and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Earl Campbell was a beast, man. If you were around back in that time, man, he was a beast.
He was.
Lit him up.
Took a toll on his body, though. God,
he's in a wheelchair now.
Yeah.
Is he in a wheelchair now?
Yeah.
Damn.
Big old legs, right? Just thick legs, man. Yeah, it was fun back then watching football and college basketball, right? The dawn of modern basketball can be traced to the 1979 NCAA championship game, right? Bird and Magic, and then in the 80s, the NBA was just bonkers, man. Crazy stuff.
I watched a documentary today, and I don't follow basketball that much, but it was on. Oh, geez, is his name Jimmy Sailors? I think. Does anybody know that name?
No.
So he went to the University of Wyoming, and it's about a 45-minute documentary.
Jump shot.
He invented the jump shot.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool, man. Just like the guy who invented the tush push. They're going to be talking about him in years, man.
Yeah.
That guy actually has an NBA card.
It is
really?
Kenny Sailor.
48 Bowman.
Kenny Sailor.
Like, I'm going to go get that. It'll be cheap. No one knows about him.
So what was it? Was it a basket shots underhand or was it layups?
Everything they were doing back in the day, it looked like slow motion.
It was a set shot.
So, and everything was a two-handed chest shot.
Right? I got you.
Well, he was the first one that would dribble down the court and take a jump shot.
And he did it. His brother kept kicking his ass. because he was older than him, and he just jumped one day to meet his brother. His brother's like, "You're on to something here."
Yeah, because his brother was 6'5" and he was a lot shorter, and he said, "You're not going to make it. This is a big man sport."
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, I didn't recognize the name, but that's a great documentary.
But soon, you're right, Don. Soon as I watched it, I thought, I wonder if this guy has any cards, and he's got the 48 Bowman, I believe it is, the color. Yeah, I think it's the same year with the George Mikan.
Yeah, Mikan.
And I thought the same thing. I don't know how. Yeah, it's probably pretty cheap. That would just be a cool item to pick up. And it was on eBay in a PSA 3 for like $300.
Yeah,
and I was like,
crazy.
huh?
Yeah, but that's fun though. You know, that's a great item.
Story. It's a good story.
Do the run of getting the best shooters in the 40s, 50s, 60s now, all the way up. That'd be pretty cool.
60s are tough because they just gave up on basketball back then, man. The 60s, they just didn't care so much other than the Fleer, I guess.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
I do have some great Harlem Globetrotter cards from the early 70s, the Cocoa Puffs and the other ones. They're fun to get, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
With Meadowlark Lemon and Curly Neal.
Curly Neal and Meadow. Yeah. I sell, I have the set, but I had extras and I sell them. Like people buy them.
Their schedule was set for years. The day after
Cosby.
And they've been doing that since I was a kid, and it's on that date.
Yeah, that's good times, man.
I just remember the Harlem Globetrotters because they used to have a Saturday morning show.
Yep,
in the early 70s.
Yeah.
It was them in real life, but then they would go to a cartoon spoof too.
I just read somewhere that Fergie Jenkins was a Globetrotter for a few years.
Wilt was, I think Bob Gibson may have been. Right?
Yeah, Gibson was.
Bob Gibson.
Crazy, man.
Good
stuff.
Yeah,
that's what's missing these days. Stuff like that, man. You can see the Globetrotters in the wild world of sports. And,
the best music.
The
best bands, the best music.
I took my kids there when they were younger, 15 years ago, whatever it was, and they loved it. You know, it's still good times. I'm sure.
The old confetti in the bucket. Probably still do it to this day.
Yeah, exactly. But you still got to make those shots, right? Yeah. Like they do those half-court shots. They still make them, man. It's you know, there's no faking that.
No.
And
I was saying Lou Brock. I didn't know Lou Brock played for the Globetrotters.
I didn't know that either.
I went to see the Globetrotters play, and they were on the second level of the stadium, and I was sitting right by the guy. I was sitting down, and Meadowlark Lemon does the hook shot. It took him 2 chances.
Oh, really?
And he made it his half court, second level up, and he made it.
That's crazy, man.
It is so stupid. I mean, no way.
You can't fake that.
Jenkins, Gibson, and Brock all played for the Harlem Globetrotters.
That's nuts, man.
Yeah, and Fergie, good Canadian boy. Yeah. From my hometown, Chatham, Ontario.
Oh, really?
Yes, where I was born.
What's the best? Here's a layup for you. The best Canadian band ever.
Rush.
Well,
you
guys
don't say
probably
Saga or Loverboy.
No.
No. I know what it's not Stabbing Westward.
Was the band from?
Well, most of them were. You're right, Chris.
You can say Neil Young too.
Yeah, the band.
Robbie Robertson was Canadian.
Everybody.
I don't
but,
think
Levon. Everybody but Levon Helm. And the ironic part is they all played, Appalachian music. This country,
Muscle Shoals kind of stuff.
Yeah. So that's a great documentary, by the way.
I would.
That's Canadian band, John.
So the first Bare Naked Ladies album is phenomenal, and someday I'll tell the story about meeting the Bare. I've done a lot of shows with them, but meeting them before they were Bare Naked Ladies.
So John, I always wanted to talk to you a little bit about music sometime because I just love it. But every November, the day before Thanksgiving, we go see a repeat of the band's last performance of that documentary.
The Last Waltz.
We go watch it. Watch performers put it on live. We've done it about 10 years in a row, and it's so good. It's so good.
It played. There's a place near me called the Colonial Theater, which was in the movie The Blob, and they played it a couple of weeks ago. And I said to my wife, I changed my flight to come home early, all that stuff. She's like, "Nah, I don't want to go out." I was bummed because it would have been great to see it in a theater.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody
Yes.
mentioned Cowboy Junkies, which disappoints me because Cowboy Junkies is one of my favorite bands.
Margot Timmons.
Mars, greatest. I was talking to somebody about her voice. Probably
Yeah,
one of the
good
greatest
voice.
female
I
vocalists.
think she dated Sean Penn for a while in
Did
her
she
heyday.
really? Oh,
I
wow.
believe so.
John, do you
So,
remember we did that live with Ray, and you guys knew all these bands from Philly, and that was probably a year ago or so.
I think I would say
Turned it into a rock.
I see Jason's comments and Steven's Bachman Turner Overdrive. Jason's big Rush fan. I would have to say that the most Canadian band, and some people, it's a love them or hate them, but they're called the Tragically Hip.
Oh, Tragically Hip, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
yeah.
and they're
yeah,
very
yeah.
The lead singer.
What was his
Gord
name?
Downey.
Bald. Yeah, Gord. Yeah.
Gord Downey died of brain cancer in 20. His last performance was 2016, but they're kind of revered up here as icons
for sure. Yep.
And they kind of took the nation by storm when they came on. But before that, I would say probably Rush.
Vintage sports cards finds put the Doors, Floyd, and Pearl Jam, none of which were Canadian.
None.
You must have missed that question.
He's probably a big Mike Trout guy.
Shania Twain.
Well, I was kind of thinking what we're kind of getting right now is the vintage equivalent of talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. So, thanks, guys.
Yeah. Taylor Swift's an Eagles fan. I don't like she's crossing over now. I don't like that. The Chiefs kingdom. I think that's wrong. It shows you a lot about who she really is and how we can trust her or not trust her.
Well, she needs to show back up. We
Dude,
lost.
if she thinks she's going to get anywhere with Travis Kelce, she's crazy. That dude's a complete nut job, man.
He is.
Complete nut job.
I saw an interview saying which one will cheat on the other one first.
Yeah.
Like Travis can get away with it, man. He's going to go to my quarterback's house to watch the film.
Yeah.
You have some girl over there. Like,
isn't that Taylor's MO though? If he cheats on her, that's just going to spawn a new album.
She's going to get an album, yeah.
Right? Isn't that a lot of her?
Oh God! Somebody please show a sports card for Christ's sake.
Show a sports card.
Hey, explain what an album is to these younger people.
Here, I get a pack of here. If you want to rip some wax, you can rip this.
What is that?
A pack of heavy metal cards.
From when?
Not too long.
Heavy metal.
Are we talking
rip it open.
Let's heavy metal, or are we talking
80s for sure?
Are we talking
91? So it was in that era that polluted all these minds that are running the hobby now. Those 90s.
Oh, I thought you were gonna rip it.
I think Theo was born that year.
Oh my God.
91?
I don't know.
He probably wasn't alive then.
He may have been born then, but he hasn't been woke yet. We need to wake that boy up and show him the way, right?
Yeah.
He's doing all right, I guess. How far does Theo go back with his collection?
Yeah.
As far as Clemente goes back.
Yeah, Clemente's rookie year.
Here,
54.
This is from 55,
55. Oh, the Dead, huh? You're a Deadhead?
My daughter drew that for me.
I did a Dead show in 1990 at Three Rivers Stadium.
I might have been at that show.
Yeah, I was working for Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and they opened up for the Dead.
You were working for them?
Yes.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What a long string.
Iron Maiden. I want to hang out with Jason.
Royalty here, man.
Wow.
I'm not talking about Chris.
Well, I'm wondering why they opened up for them.
For the Dead, CSN?
Yeah.
I did a year before the Maniac when I was working for the Maniacs, 10,000 Maniacs. We opened up from in Buffalo. That's
wow.
Yeah, they had some weird opening acts. I did a show with the Dead where Johnny Clegg and Savuka opened up, which was very interesting, So
Natalie Merchant, right?
Good old Natalie Merchant. Yep. Pirates were the Pirates were great in April of 2023. So don't sell yourself short there, man.
2013. Oh, April of 2020.
Yeah.
They won.
I was at the parade, man. I was at the parade April 30th. It was great.
They won April, that's for sure.
You guys actually big baseball fans right now or no?
No.
Yeah.
No.
They make it tough, don't they?
No.
You know, I don't.
Who you-
It
who
used to
you
be. I don't care how fast the ball came off the bat. Does anybody care about how fast? Like, does anybody keeping track of that crap in the middle of a game? You know.
No.
I
So,
want to.
well, John, you had to be into the Phillies run, weren't you?
I was, and thankfully, after a long-standing feud, our domicile nightmare's over. I switched from DirecTV to Fios this year, and we finally got to watch Phillies games because Comcast would refuse to go on DirecTV. So this year I watched more baseball than ever, but I'm not really invested.
No.
You know, fun team to watch, the Phillies, but I'm not that invested.
Yeah, I tell you, Schwarber was amazing. That was weird for me. Kyle Schwarber this year, having he struck out more times than higher than his batting average was, but he let off. That just, I don't know.
You know what it matters now, Chris, is the goddamn war. Excuse my language,
Yeah.
but like because he walked enough times that his on base percentage was higher than anybody else on the team because nobody else walked. That's what you want on a leave-off hitter to get on base. I know it sounds crazy, but you're batting 197, hitting 47 home runs or whatever.
Right.
You know, it's just crazy, man. Like his OBP was twice what his batting average is, right?
Right.
So think about in the old days when Ted Williams had nearly a 500 OBP. When you think about that, which is batshit crazy. Okay.
Right.
It's
Right.
crazy, like 480, 490.
Mhm.
Think about if he was a 500 OBP guy, that means his career batting average was 250. That's the kind of crap
Put it back up.
Schwarber was doing this year. Look at that, man.
Wow.
Greatest hitter of all time.
Yep. And he got screwed out of so
That's
many
what Fanny-
MVPs. He got screwed out of so many MVPs. I
And
tell
he
you.
took 5 years off.
Dude
Yeah.
bats 406 and doesn't win the MVP. And then he
Triple Crown.
Triple Crown doesn't win the MVP.
And then you should look at 1951. 1951, Yogi Berra won the MVP, and I didn't live back there, so I didn't get a watch or know.
Can I ask how old were you in 51?
Yeah, but anyway, Ted Williams almost had doubled his WAR, had led him in every offensive category, and I know Yogi was a catcher, and that's a different position. But he pissed so many people off that they didn't vote for him. They just and he could have won a lot more.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not, and that's what's one of the problems. One of the ruinations today is people, sports writers wanting a platform. And I tweeted about it today. Controversy and clicks are what anybody cares about. That's what sells papers or however they generate revenue this year is controversy. So you're darn right I'm not going to vote for so-and-so on their first year of eligibility, even though they hit 500 home runs and had 3,000 hits and won a Triple Crown. It's just and that's kind of the same thing back then, right? Like Ted Williams was great. Eddie Matthews, how long did it take Eddie Matthews to get in the Hall of Fame?
Oh yeah.
Right? If you ever want to like bang your head, that's right there, 10 years, right? For a guy who hit 500 home runs to get in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
There's got to be a better way, whether that's the players doing it or just baseball writers. I think there was a time when baseball writers were actually on their game, but it doesn't seem like, between the good old boy network of keeping secrets back in the day to Mark McGuire. There's always an agenda, it seems.
There's a show we can do right there because, I don't like the guys. One of the guys said one time that baseball players should be the ones that played the game. They know what it took to play the game. They know what it took to be a great player.
Right. They
should vote on the Hall of Famers.
Right.
And my thing with that is if you like somebody, there might be favoritism. And plus, I'm not a freaking chef, but I can tell you if your hamburger tastes good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of the fun things is hearing, like my friend Drew that was in here, is going to be interviewing a former baseball player soon on his channel, and it's fun to hear baseball players talk about other baseball players, right? Like one of the Bibles of our our geekdom as baseball fans is glory of their times, and hearing those guys talk about Walter Johnson, right, and talk about Ty Cobb's best baseball player ever, all that stuff. Those weren't teammates; those were contemporaries and people that played against them, and that's fun hearing that. I still like hearing stuff about that. Players. It's still a fraternity, and I think they still have respect for each other. But it's fun to hear those stories.
What I liked about those stories too, John, where they were complaining about how easy the guys had it in the 60s.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's true, man. It's true, right? It's so cool. What I would give, right, to be in Shibe Park in the early 30s when Connie Mack was rolling out Jimmy Fox, Mickey Cochran, Lefty Grove, and Al Simmons every day, right? How much fun would that have been, right? Whatever year that was, Lefty Grove won a quadruple crown. Jimmy Fox won the triple crown in the American League. In the same year, Chuck Klein won it in the National League, right? Like, how much fun would that have been to experience that? I can't think of a better thing, who would you guys want to go back and see? Mike, who would you go back in time and want to see a 3-game series?
It'd definitely be Red Sox Yankees.
From what era, though?
Oh, Teddy.
Probably Teddy Joe DiMaggio, right?
Yeah, Teddy and Joe.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
How you, Don? You want to go back to April 2023?
Right after your high school
squad
prom.
game.
That's right.
Squad game.
Honestly, I would love to see Musial play.
Okay.
And the next two would be Honus Wagner and Babe Ruth.
Anybody have a quieter, great career than Stan Musial?
No.
Just nuts, huh?
And I wonder why his isn't shouted out more because the sporting news was in that town.
They were on the fringe of baseball, right?
St.
Louis was as far west as you could get in Major League Baseball. Right?
That is funny.
I mean, it's true, but it's true. That was an extended road trip going to St. Louis, right?
St. Louis, yeah.
Taking the train.
Who would you see, Chris? What's your?
I would go back. I would go back to what I saw, and just appreciate it more.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I would love to go back and watch the 75 World Series with the knowledge that I had that Jim Rice wasn't there. And I watched that as an 8-year-old and just, I was a fan and watched it then, but man, I would love to watch it now and have the feelings that I would have now watching that stuff. I mean, look at those two teams. It was just amazing, and that's what I'd love to see. Again,
Game 6. Gotta see Fisk.
Yeah, I agree with you,
Cooper.
But I also, outside of the players, like John was saying about Shibe Park, just seeing the people in the stands and all dressed up, smoking their cigars and their cars and just the whole history of that era.
It's 95 degrees and they're wearing full on suits and wool suits.
But you both make good points because Chris, I didn't think of it that way, but with the knowledge we have now to go back and appreciate Johnny Bench and Yaz and Louis Tiant and Joe Morgan and all those guys.
I was at the 1976 All-Star game and I have faint memories of it, but boy, it would have been nice to soak that up a little bit more, see all the greats that were out there.
The first game that I ever went to, my dad we stopped at Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Oof, good night
and
out.
Got a barrel of chicken to take to the game. And I thought we had to hide that going in, because I didn't think at a Royal Stadium you could take that stuff in. But I remember Harmon Killebrew coming
as a Royal, huh?
As a Royal.
Wow.
And to me, to me then, hey, who's that big heavy guy? You know,
Yeah.
I
That
can
old dude.
And he had white hair. He had white hair back then, I think.
Yeah, he can't outrun my grandpa. You know, who is making fun of him? And then I would like to go back to that game now and see that again and appreciate him like I do now as a collector.
Mhm.
You know, the 8-year-old me didn't care about him at all. You know, I didn't.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah, I saw. Here's another one. Like the Sixers, I want to say '72 were the worst team ever. I think, right? I think Kobe's dad was on the team. We went the ball night at the Spectrum, saw them play the Lakers, and the Lakers had Jerry West and Elgin Baylor and Wilt and all that stuff. And it's like moments that I was there, but I didn't take anything away from other than it was ball night. It would have been just incredible to see these guys in all their glory. I think the Lakers were like, I think that's who the Bulls broke the record. I think from the Lakers from the year I saw them at the Spectrum. You know, however many wins, 70 wins or whatever it was. So many great players we didn't get a chance to see or appreciate.
Yeah. I like Don's comment too, going back to an old Negro League game.
Yeah.
John Gibson, Oscar Charleston.
These guys playing 3 games a day in 3 different cities, you know, driving the bus, having peanut butter sandwiches, all that stuff, man. Just crazy.
For me here in Pittsburgh, you know, the Homestead Grays is 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
Down there and watching them. That would have been cool.
I was going to ask you about that, Don. Is there a lot when you go to local card shows? When I was down in Pittsburgh at that mainline show, I didn't notice it because I wasn't looking for it. Do you see a lot of the Homestead Gray? Do you see stuff from back in the day? Like
I saw a dude in a Grays t-shirt last week, Mike. It was crazy. Yeah. I was coming in out of a place he'd come in. Texas Roadhouse. I was like, dude, right on, man.
I mean, there's nothing in it. You know, it's all reprint or not reprint.
Yeah.
Crawford's as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the Crawfords too.
Yeah.
I want to call Dom out. You should never put Cap Anson's name in with Oscar Charleston and Josh Gibson.
Yeah, really.
That's an insult. That's an insult to those two guys. Cap Anson, grade A douchebag. Public enemy number 1 to me. So if you can go back and edit that out, that'd probably be a good idea, Dom.
Well, have you guys ever gone? Do they do it at your guys' where you guys go watch baseball in Kansas City? We celebrate the Negro Leagues one day, and we call it Dress to the Nines.
Well, you've got the Hall of Fame right there.
Yeah. And everybody will go to that game dressed up.
That's so
cool, like they did back in the day, and celebrate some of those. And they take control of the stadium then, and it's just cool as can be.
I have to get out to that museum. So many great players.
There's something I would like to do. I got to go. I went there this year with a guy that works for me and a good friend of mine, and Billy Ballgame, and they have one display that's terrible. And I would like to try to do something. I don't know what we could do, but they have a display of Negro Leaguers that made it to the Hall of Fame. Don knows a lot of this stuff. But the cards they show.
Boy, talk about a cliffhanger, huh?
and it's just terrible. I mean,
oh really?
Hank Aaron.
The last thing I heard was the cards they show.
Oh, they're terrible. They show like Hank Aaron. They'll have
like it's 75 tops or something.
Yeah, and it's just in terrible shape. But they have a lot of them. There should be something we could do about it. But that's something. That's a big project later on. But there's not near
your collection.
I need to get them before they need to get them.
My way. My way.
I'll give them my dupes. How's that sound?
There you go. Yeah. But there's not a lot of them. There's not a lot of Negro Leaguers that played in the Hall of Fame. There's just not.
Yeah. Well, there's more that need to get in too. There's a lot of, I've heard Bob Kendrick.
Wait, are you talking about Negro Leaguers that played in the major leagues that made the Hall of Fame, or Negro Leaguers in the Hall of Fame?
No, Negro Leaguers that made it to play baseball, that played baseball in the major leagues.
Okay.
So there's under 50.
I cleared it up because you said Negro Leaguers have played baseball. I figured.
Yeah, thank you. I'm about 6 drinks in now.
How many gins have you had?
He just had to sell his playoff tickets. to the Chiefs playoff tickets. So he's
How many guys are there that played Major League Baseball from the Negro Leagues?
Don, do you know that one?
I don't know the exact number, but it's about 50 to 60.
it's got to be way more than that, man.
I think it's
Play
low.
the Negro Leagues and the Major Leagues?
There's a guy who is it Diego Garcia that signs at the Philly show every now and then. That was a Negro Leaguer because you got to remember Negro League still went on afterwards for a little while, but
Yeah, but
he's
the
still-
crew, like pretty much once they got in the Major Leagues, the Negro Leagues died.
It wasn't a farm system very
Yeah.
long. So I think it's under 50. I think it's like 40 some.
okay.
I
Maybe
don't
I'm
know.
wrong. Yeah. I learned from
Maybe I'll
I
Google
learned
it
from
while we're
Orlando
here.
how to pronounce Martin Digo's name. So no H.
Yeah, Dan's right. There's around,
is
I
right.
mean, we're all in the ballpark, 47 to 56.
I thought it would be substantially more, but
No.
yeah. Oh well. But yeah, that's. But again, there's still more waiting to get in. And Ted Williams, by the way, say what you want, how cantankerous he was, but his Hall of Fame induction speech,
Yeah.
that's pretty darn amazing. Not a lot of people were saying what Ted Williams was saying back then.
Right.
Google gave me the answer of 52.
Yeah,
Here we go.
52 is
You
what I
guys are right on, man. Well done. Who was the last one?
Make the Major
got.
League.
Would it be
Good
Aaron?
one.
Would it be
No.
Aaron?
I'm pulling up the list here. Looks like
Aaron had a long career, man.
Whoever
Bob
played
Bob Wilson.
For the Astros? No, that's
That's
Don.
Don Wilson. He
Dodger.
definitely was not a Negro Leaguer.
No.
No, the
Bob
I mean, the
Wilson, Newark Eagles, Los Angeles Dodgers.
I think it was the last one to debut.
yeah, I think the last one active in Major League was maybe Aaron, right? Had to
Or
be Aaron.
also.
Well, boy, yeah, good one. That's cheating, though, right?
Satchel Paige. Oh,
He
yes.
ducked out in the late '60s, though, right?
That's true.
Yeah, Aaron probably was the last one.
To play regular, you're right. Minoso.
So technically, the Negro Leagues did go on for a long time. There was actually, I don't know if you guys remember Harry Chapis. He played for the White Sox. He was about 5'3". There's a
Yeah.
illustrated. He technically played in the Negro Leagues, but it wasn't the same.
There's an exhibit at the Negro Leagues how Jackie Robinson killed the Negro Leagues.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It wasn't just the Negro Leagues. It was the hotels, the restaurants in those towns.
Right.
It
Yeah,
killed-
yeah. He
Support system.
wasn't celebrated as much with the owners and different things like the hotel owners and different things like it should be celebrated.
I wonder how much we know it was prevalent racism, right? And with the color line and all that stuff in baseball. I wonder how much propaganda was spread about how these guys, whether perhaps you weren't racist, but you were trained to believe that these guys are going to take your job if you accept them. Like a lot of people were bigots. We know that, but a lot of people might have been told also, you got to be against this because these guys will take your job. If you're on a roster now, 5 Negro Leaguers come in, 5 of you guys lose your job next year.
Right.
So I wonder if there was any kind of fear that played into that as well on rosters.
I would think so.
Well,
It would
you
have to have
you
been.
hear stories of them treating rookies.
Same with
bad,
him, yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, but I mean, Negro Leagues would have been like a wholesale, like
Right.
they've got enough players that there's that Bill Veeck story where he was going to buy
The Phillies.
the Phillies and replace them all with Negro Leaguers, which would have been great, right? Maybe not the right town to do it in, but it would have been great, to see that happen.
Yeah, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
What was that guy's name? Chapman?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Okay,
I don't doubt it one bit, right? And it's amazing that he's the manager, right? He was the manager.
yeah.
He was chirping from the dugout, right? Crazy stuff.
Yeah. Hey, John, you might want to come on here. We're getting old. A couple of us had to go to the bathroom 3 or 4 times and that stuff. Is there any good questions in there that we need to answer?
I'm relieving myself as we speak.
There haven't really been any questions as of late to this.
Oh.
Is it getting to be bedtime for you old fogies?
Well,
About 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
what were we talking about?
Don's got to go water his lawn.
Yeah.
10:30 at night in October.
Guys, I think this has been fun. You know, there's some other old guys like us that we could sit here and talk all night about.
They're actually in the chat.
The rest of them are in the chat.
Orlando,
Dan, I tell you what,
Mookie, I don't know how old you are. Dom, you don't count. How many people do we have even watching anymore? I can't see that.
I think they're all
It says there's currently still 34.
You guys are crazy. Thank you.
Holy cow! That's more than what we think.
How many?
34. The
That's
peak
like-
I
How many are
saw
watching?
tonight was
Like-
like 42. So
Yeah. That's like 60 Canadian.
Well, that's 34
Pretty impressive.
apologies we owe. Exactly.
That's 60 Canadian. 4 equals 60 Canadians.
Yeah.
That's
It's about right.
well, we
That's
should
about
get we should find something. And hey, Four Leaf is here. Anybody get $5 from Four Leaf at the Nationals to buy a card?
No.
I have in the
I
past.
did not.
Okay, so he handed out these envelopes, had $5 supposedly. Mine had 10, and so I
Bought
thought
a beer. Chris bought a beer.
exactly, and I felt bad about it. But
A White Claw.
I picked up a card, and it has been the hardest thing. I tell you what, I'm never going to do it again. So I took that $5. I got $10. Took that, and I worked my way up to this card right here.
Oh, look at that, huh?
And I know he's a
Hey.
Yastrzemski fan.
Yeah.
And if he tells me he has one like in a 3 or he has like 6 of these, I can't take him. But I need some help beating him up because this has taken me forever to get back. So many phone calls and all that kind of stuff. And
Well, if he
and
doesn't
so-
want it, I'll give you 11 for it.
okay,
What card is that, Chris?
it's a stamp. It's a 1969 Topps decal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Decal.
And
I've got a 6-pack of Zima that I'll trade for it.
Theo's a Zima guy.
I bet
Theo's
he
a-
is. With
Yeah,
a straw. He probably has
Zima.
drinks it with a straw, right?
It'd be
So we never had that up here. What exactly is Zima?
Crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what, like alcohol?
It's a malt
It's-
liquor.
it's a drink for teenage
Malt-
girls to
malt.
say they party hard.
Okay.
That's what it is.
It's like
yeah,
a
I don't know if Theo would even know what that is because that thing was popular when I was in my 20s. And
It's
Give
like
me a-
White Claw. It's like you tell them it's like a White Claw. Or
Yeah.
something like that.
It would be like Bartles and James back in the day for us.
Do you ever have Brador, Mike?
Oh,
Brador
man.
was knocking
High
socks
school-
off, man.
Brador was the high school choice of beverage.
That had like a higher alcohol content. I
Yeah,
think, than
so
regular
up here
beer.
it was 8 or 9%.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man.
And it was good because we would take that to parties during high school and we'd be the only ones with it. So if someone was drinking a Brador, we knew, hey, you stole one of our beers.
our
We're the
beers,
only
man.
ones that brought that.
We
We
used
would
to
always
load
bring
up.
up.
Yeah,
We'd always bring obscure beers to parties.
yeah.
And we knew if someone was drinking it, that's ours. But
Bradors
Brador
and
was-
222s. That's what I used to get when I went up to Canada.
What are
Those-
222s?
I don't know that.
They were like the extra
six,
strength
Tom, that's
Tylenol. Yeah,
six.
yeah.
That's 6. Dog.
That's
Oh,
Kyle Schwarber's
okay.
career batting average.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like the kind of they were like the hospital grade Tylenol.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You need a
yeah.
prescription up here for them.
yeah,
22 points better than Mendoza.
yeah, yeah.
So we haven't made fun of this For Collectors channel. We haven't done anything to get them kicked off the air. We've said a little about Theo and Pepino Man, but what about the other clowns, James and John? I mean,
Yeah, James, we kicked him out of the Misfits for joining this. So we do have an opening. No one's applied in a long time. So,
I might see James next week if he's going to Dallas.
yeah.
I imagine he would be, but yeah, that's
I
where I
think-
met him at a Dallas card show a couple years ago.
I think Moynihan's setting up there because Garrett is joining.
Yeah.
Hard cutter. He's joining him. At the
Imagine
show.
Mike Moynihan staying in an 8x8 area the entire time at a card show.
No.
He's Somebody's going to be watching that table for him.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
We're buying more cards from people coming to his table. And just,
Yeah.
He could have come home with more cards than he left with. His wife's going to say.
You see that one time where he slept underneath the table there?
Yeah.
Wonder if he's bringing his blanket to do that.
His whoopee. Yeah.
Okay, so John, us three here are going to be at the Strongsville card show in April. It is a vintage only card show, and it might be the best card show I've ever been to in my whole entire life.
If I'm not preoccupied with work, I don't have a normal job. I'm not a civilian like the rest of you folk.
You just follow bands around the country. Apparently,
they follow me, man. I was
okay. Sorry.
I was always the first one in every day to that arena. They rolled in at 4 in the afternoon. I rolled in at 6 in the morning.
Nice.
If I will go there, and maybe I'll pick Don up and Dean on the way there. But for sure, I think that's the place to be. And I'll be at the National too, so we can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw you this year, Chris. I saw Mike, I think, right? I think I saw Mike at the you're part of Mike Moynihan's slumber party?
Yeah.
And then Chris, I actually saw you, but you were too busy. You were very, very busy sticking playing grab ass with every YouTuber you could find.
Well, so I saw you too. And of course, you were shaking hands and signing autographs and stuff.
That was not me.
But and I don't even know his name, but I watch his stuff too, so that tells you how old I'm getting. But he looks a lot like you, and I wasn't going to come up and say, "Hey, John, I'm Chris," because one of you would have said, "I don't know who the hell you are."
Please don't tell me it was Jeremy Lee you were confusing me with.
No.
Floating head.
I don't know. Floating head.
Another one of your Canadian buds.
I think it might have been Dylan, Double D. Yeah.
Yeah, we look exactly like each other. Schwarzenegger and DeVito, man.
Yeah, you were over there doing it.
Start calling you Julius.
Yeah. Unlike Dylan, I was wearing socks and sneakers. I didn't roll in like corn cob shoes or whatever the hell he was wearing. Palm leaf shoes and a thong. And a coconut bra.
What a great time that was, though.
Yeah.
What a great time.
Yeah. Dylan was rocking a fanny pack, if I'm not mistaken, at the National. Pretty sure.
He was.
He's on.
I don't know who Vintage on Vintage is, so maybe it was Vintage on Vintage.
I think that's it. I think,
I don't know who that person is. He or she.
You have your black socks on with sandals.
Yeah, look up Vintage on Vintage, and I think he's probably 20 years younger, but he still seems to look younger. Yeah, there you go. But
yeah, the Strongsville show is exceptional. I enjoy that more than the National. Because old man getting around and shit and a bad hip, but Strongsville's nice and condensed. It's not that big of a show, but every table's got something to look at. Every single table
takes us on a 45-minute drive to a 10-minute drive.
Well, it's good because I'm running out of brown top loaders, so I have to go to Strongsville to re-up on some of that.
We got Steve from Vintage on Vintage in the chat, actually.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. He's older. Wow.
We'll take that.
Type how old you are, because I am deceptively old, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've watched the last few videos of his. You should. He's
okay.
Good. Stooks has joined YouTube and Rocket Rick. They're bringing my age down big time. I like these guys getting on here.
I don't know how old Dan is, but I like his collection too. He's there. I like seeing more vintage stuff.
63 in December.
All right. Well, he's got me. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Rick's 85.
Well, I guarantee you he could beat Mike and I in a race. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'll beat him in beer drinking.
Yeah, it depends on what it's a race to, right? If it's to the bathroom, you guys might have a beat.
When we were at Strongsville, I'd say, Mike, Don, where's Mike? And he'd say, I bet he's at the bar. We'd walk outside, he was at the bar.
Yep.
It didn't matter what time.
Well, I bought my 49 Jackie and I had to decompress. I was
Yeah,
like, "Ooh, I need a drink after that."
probably a lot of adrenaline, huh?
Mike
Going
did hook
wild,
up those buckets. You
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, they I ordered 2 beers and then the waitress said, it's a better deal if you get a bucket of 6 because one of them becomes free. And
Yeah.
I'm like, so
Yeah.
can we retro these 2 and you just throw 4 in a bucket and charge me? And she's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, right.
And I was
Good.
like, okay. And then those guys came out. I was done the 6, and I'm like, they're all getting a beer. I'm like, yeah, bring another bucket. Just keep them coming.
It's amazing how you guys will haggle over cards and beat people down over price on cards, but you'll buy extra beers that you're not drinking, right? Well, I only wanted 2 beers.
No.
No, they were drank.
I drank them all.
Okay.
I drank them all. There's no.
And that night we're at the bar. It took so long to get a drink that Chris ran up to his room, made his own drink, and came back, and we were still waiting on our drinks.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah. It's because they were getting all my buckets ready.
The same bucket, or did you get different buckets each time?
Please, you were asleep by that time.
Different bucket.
Different buckets.
Yeah. Fill it up with ice.
But
So I guess we'll all be at the National, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Repeat.
yes, sir.
Strongsville in the National I'll be at for sure. Hoping to at one of them to pick up the 49 satchel. One of the 2. That's where I figure that's where I'm going to finish off the set. And I was going last year at Strongsville because it's so close to Cleveland. I thought it's only I was deciding, do I get the satchel or do I get the Jackie?
What?
And I hunted them. Yeah, that's it. You should just sell me that.
All right.
And
10 grand.
all right. How much?
You
10
said
grand.
all right.
Throw the Mendoza in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
And on the Friday, I hunted out prices on the Jackie and the satchel, and I was set that I was going to get the satchel. And I woke up Saturday, I flipped on ESPN, and they're like, today is Jackie Robinson Day. And I'm like, I got to buy the Jackie now.
Yeah, you were between buying Cleveland, Satch in Cleveland or the Jackie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you bought the better Jackie because you were looking at the other one.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with either, though, right?
No.
Yeah. It was, and I keep thinking back on that day because the one I was going to get had that print dot beside the B on his cap, and it looked like his cap said Bo from the from the fisheye, and I just kept looking at it, and then Chris, Ash, and I handed it back to him. I said, I just can't do it. My eye keeps going right to it, and he's like, well, hang on, I got some others. And he pulled out like a stack of 5, and he's like, here's a PSA 7. And I'm like, well, you can put that one away. Like, I need
Was that Ash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's who I got.
He's got some crazy stuff, man.
Yeah. I just actually picked up in one of our Facebook groups, I picked up the Bob Lemon from him.
Okay.
So I picked that up.
So there's a Cobb. Is it the E45? But there's a Cobb with one of the greenbacks. I think he's got his hands in the air, right? So that walked into my LCS a while back. I think Rick may have been involved in this too, because I looked at it and it looked real, right? But where it had a crease in it, and the crease was like bright white. And I said, I don't know, man. So I took a picture, sent it to Moynihan. I think Moynihan checked with Rick. They both said it was fake. Sent it back to SGC. Comes back a 1. Right. This guy, my LCS, just sold it in Chantilly last week to Ash. So I know what he sold it for. I can't wait to see in Dallas what he's got it listed for. So pretty. Walked into the store. It was like I don't know. He bought. I think he bought the 56 set that I actually have now. All this stuff. The guy paid like $750 for my LCS, and he comes out of it with like this Cobb. I worked out a deal with the 56 set with him and all that stuff. It's just amazing what walks into these stores and people just don't know, It's crazy.
it's easier to get a big card if you have a brick and mortar than it is just people knowing you collect.
Yeah, I saw 51 set walk in a few months back to his store, and you got the maze out of it, the Mantle, the Williams, all that stuff. It's just crazy. So
insane.
Good stuff. Yeah, ashes everywhere, man.
Well, he's of course, he's one of the best dealers that a lot of us know, but at that Strongsville show, there's some heavy hitter dealers.
Yeah, I'm sure he's the second fiddle.
Cards.
Yeah,
beautiful cards there, and we could have
baseball or what are we looking at now? We're looking because the vintage football is awesome. I'm a big proponent of vintage football.
Yeah, there was a
vintage
lot.
Hockey's amazing, right?
Yeah. There's one guy, Colin Murray, who is from my neck of the woods. He set up at Strongsville. He's the Hockey Exchange.
That's such a Canadian name, Colin Murray.
Yeah. He had I don't know, about 3 or 4 rookies. I think he sold them all.
Yeah.
Before the show was over.
I have to get up to. When's the next Canadian? Is it
Expo?
Expo, yeah.
2 weekends from right now.
It's always in
they
November,
have
right?
2. Yeah, it's always the second weekend in November, and then there's one near. They have 2 a year. One is the Spring Expo is late April, early May, but the one in 2 weeks is the one.
Okay, that's
big.
That's always the one in November. Yeah,
because it's hockey release time. It's hockey release time.
I'd love to just buy a bunch of OPG stuff because I'm lacking in all that stuff. But and then Stan, like Jason Janiga there says Stan's a great deal.
Yeah,
he's
got to be at Strongsville because he lives in Akron or whatever.
He is. He and I at Strong. He helped me out at Strongsville. Yeah. I was finishing the getting all the PSA runs of the Rookie Hall of Famers, and I brought 5 non-PSA or 7 non-PSA cards there, and we worked out a trade. He had 5 of them for me, so we worked out a trade. Stan's my favorite.
He's a good guy. His wife's good. They're good people.
Yeah. And the guy from Iowa,
Tim Payne.
He's there. And then Mike's buddy was there last year.
Yeah, Craig and Holly.
Yeah.
Craig and Holly were there. Yeah, it's a great show. Yeah,
I see a lot of these people in Philly, which is great because Philly's a big enough show where all these heavy hitters come in, which is awesome.
And I think there's going to be a lot of YouTubers there because even last year, help me out, Don. There was us 3, Scott,
Forley,
Andrew Nuff said cards,
Jeff Wilson,
Steven, 4-leaf.
Yeah,
was there.
I missed 4-leaf. He was only there on Friday, I think. And
the Ruth collector,
Josh,
and
Jay Stottlemyre won.
And then Orlando's buddy,
breakout card, Scott Nolan,
Ryan Nolan.
And this year, I think there's going to be more people going, so it's going to be a great time.
You've been promoting the heck out of it.
I'm getting ready to do it more.
You know what Yogi says. Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded.
That is true.
So you never know.
Exactly.
Yep.
We had a great story, Chris. Remember that guy came up to you
in the middle of the road or Ohio? I do. You tell it.
So he came up and he's like, Chris from Missouri from YouTube. I follow you all the time. Great guy. And then he looked at me and he's like, who are you? I'm like, Don's Field of Dreams. Like, oh, okay. And then poor Scott, he's like, I've never heard of you. And we get on. So we get on our channels. He doesn't follow Chris, who he knows. Follows me, who he has no idea who I am.
That's awesome, man.
He didn't know Scott at all.
That's awesome.
A guy came up to me in Pittsburgh. It was kind of weird because I don't get recognized up here in Canada. And I was in Pittsburgh and some guy's like, aren't you the Canadian cards guy? And I'm like, maybe. He's like, yeah, I watch you on YouTube. I'm like, yeah, that's me. I was with Scott. It was just kind of weird.
Oh gosh, John, you better get in here to get us off.
Yeah,
I'm about to.
We're pushing.
Is this a record?
All right. Yeah, all of you need to get back, get to bed before it.
We survive.
I gotta change my diaper before I get to bed.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining in, and Chris for begging for the hosting opportunity. So
Yeah,
That was
it was fun. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, thanks, John. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
all right, and thanks to all the viewers. Still 35 strong, 2 hours in. That's
Wow.
incredible.
How many
thank
other
you,
live streams did Don miss tonight? And have those people called in?
Yeah. It was Alex Bowman 53 on.
No, we failed tonight.
That's the only reason we could book Don, because Alex took the night
Okay.
off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
An
well,
open-
Rick says
an
to
opening
wait because he
came
just got back from the bathroom. I believe that's
Rick's
trip
being
number
wheeled
5
back.
for him.
Yeah, he's being wheeled back. He's in his that little stair chair.
He's gonna put his
Yeah.
oxygen back on.
So as you can see from the lot we've got in this chat, that we're screwing up the schedules for a lot of retirement communities out there. So
Hey, real quick, I almost met Rick. I almost met Mangini. I almost met a bunch of people at the National. I was talking to, I guess, James and Dom. Dom was at the table, and I got all wallflowery and left. So, Rick, I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself at the National, but I would have liked to have met you if you're still listening. How's that
He's not that cool a dude. I've met him.
sound?
No,
I just want to know where he's buried. That's all. I wanted to talk to him.
You wanna go
long enough to know
Visit his gravesite.
where the treasure chest is. Yeah.
that son of a gun's in too good a shape for me, though. I can't worry
I love
about
us all. They usually do, right?
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
all right, well,
Get out.
thanks everybody for watching, and we will be back again next Sunday with another live stream. So thanks everyone.